Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Codeman Movies. We have a bunch of videos going up this week because we are at the end of the year and it's just that time of the year. So today it's going to be more of a negative day. Today I'm drinking a Jameson Orange just right on the rocks because we are talking about disappointing movies and worse movies today. So I'll have two videos going up. Tomorrow I will have, what will I have up tomorrow? I don't know. I will have two different videos. One will be the best of the year, and then just movies I've watched throughout this week because I actually watched quite a few movies. And then just a special thank you video, essentially, coming up after that. So, bunch of videos. Today are the two negative ones. Oh boy, oh wow, here we go. This video, we're going to talk specifically just about movies that were disappointing. None of these movies I would say I hated. It's just that they were just very disappointing for me. I had high expectations for them and they didn't quite pan out as well as I thought they would. And yeah, so that's what this video is going to be about. Just about just movies that were disappointing, not necessarily terrible. That's the list that'll come up later today. This right now is just the worst movies. I'm wearing my bathrobe because you know what? I actually filmed this video, well, at least 75% of this video last night, and my phone cut out for some stupid reason, and I got angry and mad. So now I'm angry and mad because I have to redo all of this. So, yeah, that's why I'm wearing a bathrobe. Also, we're talking negative movies. Do you really want to be dressed for that? I know I don't. So, bathrobe it is. Jeremy Jahns does it. Why the heck can't I, right? Yeah. So anyways, guys, grab your beverage, preferably just liquor on the rocks, because that's what you need for these kind of things. So let's go, shall we? First video of the year, again, or first disappointing movie of the year. Again, this movie's not bad. It's just not very memorable, and it's part of the Toy Story franchise. The first three Toy Story movies are perfect movies for me. 10 out of 10. The fourth one, not so much, but it's still really good. And they're wonderful and happy and joyous films. Yes, there's some sad parts where you start bawling your eyes out, especially with Toy Story 3, Toy Story 2, too. Anyways, this movie doesn't have any of that. This movie is just kind of joyless and very serious and somber. And at the beginning of the movie, it talks about how this is the movie Andy watched that made him want to get a Buzz Lightyear. And I don't buy that for a millisecond. I don't think anybody would want to get a Buzz Lightyear necessarily after watching this movie. Maybe the sales of toys went up after this movie. If it did, and you know the answer to that, please tell me. But I found this movie just to be just so boring at times and just not the happy, joyous kind of Toy Story movie we wanted. I wanted anyway. Zurg in this movie is absolutely stupid. There's a dumb twist, and it was just not good. I do not remember any of the characters in this movie. This movie came out, in June or July, I think. It wasn't that long ago, and I just do not remember much about it. I remember liking that cat. I don't remember the cat's name. I remember it's like a robot, and that's about it. My microphone's kind of all over the place. I apologize if you guys see my nasty, hairy-ass chest. Anyways, guys, Lightyear, just a fine movie, but disappointing in the sense that it's a Pixar movie. It's part of the Toy Story franchise. It just wasn't anything spectacular, and it tried to do awesome, amazing things, and it didn't get there. I admire that it swung for the fences for some things, but it just didn't quite work out for me. So Lightyear's definitely one of those movies that was just disappointing. By the way, none of these are in any kind of order. It's just these are some movies I've been thinking about as being disappointing this year. Next up, guys, is Halloween Ends. I didn't love Halloween Kills. I enjoyed the first Halloween in 2018. I had issues with it. Definitely had a lot of issues with Halloween Kills. And Halloween Ends was the worst of the bunch. My buddy in Chicago 100% disagrees with me on this. He thinks this is better than Halloween Kills. I 100% disagree with that. This movie's awful. I don't think it's in my top 10 worst of the year. I just put them together. So yeah, no, it's not. It's not in there. It's almost there. Top 20, it's in there. just the looking at the poster, even look at this poster. This is clearly Michael Myers versus Laurie Strode showdown. And did we get that? Yeah, in the last 10 minutes of the movie. Everything else is just this different story, which I admire it swinging for the fences. I will say that. But it wasn't a very good swing for the fence, and it just doesn't work out, in my opinion. Uh, Michael Myers is not even in his movie gets stolen from him, and instead it's the weird new guy that Michael Myers just ends up killing by the end of the movie. So what was the point of it all is what I wonder. Uh, Laurie Strode is just kind of a useless character in this movie. It's all about her daughter and this melodramatic love story. This movie really did not work out for me, and it's the first Halloween movie in this new franchise that I did not go see in theaters. The other Halloween movies, I was too young to go to the theater to see it. So this was the first. These are the first Halloween movies that I did not. This the first that I did not go to the theater to see when I had an opportunity to. It's just not a good movie. It really was not a good movie. I wanted it to be a satisfying ending to Laurie Strode's story, and it's not. If this really is Jamie Lee Curtis's final outing as Laurie Strode, that's sad to me. Yeah, this movie's just not good. It's just not good at all, and I wanted it to be so much more, and it's not. It was very garbage film, in my opinion. Just barely missed out on the top 10 worst movies of the year. The Gray Man. Now, what drives me nuts about this one, guys, is this is the Russo brothers, the guys who did Avengers Endgame. This is also written by some people. Christopher Marcus. He wrote the screenplay for Avengers Endgame, or at least co-wrote. He had a part in it. You got Chris Evans, Ryan Gosling, Ana de Armas, Billy Bob Thornton's in this movie. I think a couple other people even. Great cast. And you got the guys who did Avengers Endgame and Avengers Infinity War and Winter Soldier and Civil War. And we got this. This movie was I don't remember much about it. It was very forgettable. What I really do remember about this movie is that I saw it in Chicago when I was going to Lollapalooza at my buddy's apartment. That's what I remember. But I remember the action sequences being just terrible, the editing being weird. I remember terrible script. The things people were saying were just insane. Chris Evans was an interesting villain, but very weird. This movie just did not work out. That's the basis of it. Again, it's not terrible. It's just this is a Russo brothers movie. These are the guys who did Avengers Endgame, a movie that I give a 10 out of 10 to. Why? And Joe Russo also co-wrote this. Do they know how people talk? Because that's not how people talk. This is not how people talk. I have nothing more to say about this movie. It's just really this. And moving on to actual Marvel now. I was so excited for Thor Love and Thunder. I really was, guys. You got Taika Waititi coming back. You have Natalie Portman coming back as the Mighty Thor. You have Gore the God Butcher. Gore the God Butcher, by the way, he's played by Christian Bale, Academy Award winner. He's shown that he can be a great villain, a great hero. Such a great actor. So what do we do with him? We put him in about 15 minutes of the movie, make him funny at times. Funny to the point that kids aren't even really scared of him that much because they're still cracking jokes around them. You make Thor a complete and utter idiot. Valkyrie is just there, not doing much. Korg, is it Korg? Korg. No, it's not Korg, is it? Yeah, Korg. Korg the Rock Man. annoying as hell. The most annoying character in this entire movie that I wanted to just punch in the face, but she's a rock, so that would hurt. Um, the mighty Thor, Natalie Portman, Jane Foster. You know, it's so flippin' rushed how this all happens that it doesn't work. And she's just there. And she's just all of a sudden the mighty Thor. And it did not work out. The screaming goats made me want to, just put a bag around my head and suffocate myself. All the humor in this movie is just absolutely terrible. Zeus, played by Russell Crowe, is just stupid. We have, just everything about this movie was too goofy. You have Lady Sif, who is dying from what we see, and they're making jokes about getting into Valhalla. I just do not understand what the hell happened here. Marvel just gave Taika Waititi, just said, go do stuff. Here's $250 million. Go do stuff. And this is what we got, and it's terrible. This movie this movie honestly almost made my top 20 worst of the or top 10 worst of the year. It would make my top 20. It is such a disappointing film. This movie makes me really scared for the Marvel Cinematic Universe now. I hope that Kevin Feige and team are looking at stuff and rechanging. I hope that's why this Phase 4 was so quick, because it was essentially 2 years worth of stuff instead of like 3-4 years of stuff, because I believe that's 13, 14, yeah, most of them have been about 3 years worth of stuff. Just a terrible movie. Caramba, I just could not believe my ears and my eyes as I was watching this movie. Just so bad. Speaking of Marvel, and it's not as bad as Thor: Love and Thunder. This would not make my top 20 worst of the year list. But Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, I was excited about this one. Sam Raimi coming back to comic book movies. Coming back to movies, period. He hasn't made a movie in a long time. I didn't love the first Doctor Strange, but again, Sam Raimi. I was excited for it. Elizabeth Olsen as Scarlet Witch was coming. You got Chiwetel Ejiofor coming back. You got Benedict Wong coming back. Such a great cast. And we got this movie. This movie has weird exposition dumps. This movie doesn't do very much multiverse traveling. This movie made Wanda evil within 30 seconds, and I get it. She's got the stronghold and all that fun jazz, but it didn't quite work for me that she's just all of a sudden this villain. We didn't see enough. I don't know. At the end of the day, it's not a terrible movie. It really is not a terrible movie. It's just fine. And I wanted it to be so much more. This is just not keeping up with the standards of Marvel. This movie is just, it's just so disappointing. It's so very disappointing, and it doesn't work. American Chavez is just a MacGuffin. She's not a character. She's just a MacGuffin. I want to make sure it's still working. I think it's still. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I think you can hear me. I see the light on, so I'm thinking it's working. Yeah, guys, I don't got much else to say about this, except it was just disappointing. Just disappointing, period. I wouldn't say this one was bad. I think out of all the movies on this list that I have for you in this video, I wouldn't say any of these are bad. Well, this would be the one that I would say isn't bad. This is the one. All the other ones are not bad. They're just eh. They're just really just eh. This one it's still good, I would say. It's so disappointing. Next up, guys, Don't Worry, Darling. Olivia Wilde made Booksmart, a wonderful, enjoyable movie, which made me really excited for her second movie that she directed. And the cast was announced, and we got more excited. And then there was the behind-the-scenes drama that started happening, and I don't know. It's not the reason why this movie's bad, but it got me starting to get less and less excited for the movie. And then I saw the movie, and it's just so many unanswered questions. So many. The end of the movie feels like the end of the second part of the movie, not the end part. It just kind of ends. Random things just start happening. Harry Styles, when he's acting with Florence Pugh, you just tell that he's not a very good actor at the moment. He's getting there, but he's not very good. Uh, just stupid twist that you saw a mile away. Again, I wouldn't say this movie's terrible. It's just such a waste of talent, and I just struggle to understand why, what it just. Yeah, guys, this movie. They do a lot of drinking in that movie too. This movie just really bugged me. Hey, quit honking! I'm making a movie thing here. Guy honking out there. I don't know why all of a sudden went into this accent. Anyways, guys, don't worry, darling. It just disappointing movie. Just lackluster. Just. Hey, come on, computer. Next up, guys, Blonde. I'm a big Ana de Armas fan. She is beautiful. She's talented. Yeah, she's beautiful. She's talented. She has been in some really great movies. Blonde was not good, guys. This is a 3-hour-long movie that does not need to be 3 hours long. I don't know why movies this year decided that it needed to be 3 hours long. Her performance is fantastic. The movie itself, though, is just a bunch of scenes that don't really connect, in my opinion. It just things don't necessarily happen the way things happen in life, so it's kind of just treating her like an object in this movie. I hate how this movie treats Marilyn Monroe. The direction was just so weird. The aspect ratios changing, the color to black and white. Just this movie was so pretentious and so far up its butt that I don't even know what this movie was or is, and just not a good movie. I have less and less to say about these movies as we're going on. Just such a bitter disappointment. Just you got Ana de Armas, and she is transformed into Marilyn Monroe, and it could have been so good, and instead we have this disappointing pile of crap. Yeah, it's just it was not good. It just wasn't good. It just really wasn't. This is still going, right? Okay. So worried it's not going now. Next up, guys, Nope. Now, this is another movie. I would say, I said before that Doctor Strange is the only movie that I would say wasn't bad. Nope was not bad. I will say that. However, I will say it's definitely disappointing. I saw this in the best way possible. It was a huge screen, amazing sound, the whole shebang. And I was just getting sleepy watching this movie. I was kind of getting bored and tired with this movie. It felt a little too long. It felt like there's this side plot with the chimpanzee and stuff that just felt pointless. A weird thing with the electronics guy. This movie, and after Us, I really enjoyed Us. And following that up with this, just it wasn't there for me. I understand if people love this movie. I just personally did not. I don't see myself rewatching this again anytime soon. And I guess I didn't like it or Get Out either. I did, but it's just not. It wasn't anything spectacular in my opinion. It was a little overhyped in my personal opinion. But I really liked Us, and so I just, from Us to this, a little bit of a disappointment for me. Again, not a bad movie. I just don't see myself rewatching this one. And I have found this to be just a little bit overrated over the past, what is that, 5 months? Just slightly overrated, 6 months, something like that. Anyways, just a little overrated, just not quite as good as everyone was saying it was. And I mean, it's fine. Again, just not a movie I want to rewatch. And just weird things happen in the movie that don't necessarily add up or make sense. Like it makes sense, but it just doesn't need to be in there for me, in my opinion. And the movie is just too long. It feels like 3 hours long. I think it's only like 2 hours and 15 minutes or something like that. But too long, and just, I don't know, something about this movie. I just was not the biggest fan of it. Next up, The Lost City. You know what? I take back what I said earlier. There's quite a few movies on this list that are still good. They're just disappointing. This is a movie I saw the trailer for, and I was really excited for it. I saw this movie in theaters, and it's still good. There's still a lot of funny parts. There's some weird editing. I mean, there's scenes where Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum's characters are walking. You can clearly tell they're not talking. It's just 80-yard. Weird editing, like, hey, we need to climb that cliff. All of a sudden, they're almost at the top of the cliff. Like, how the hell did you just get from that to that? So many weirdly edited things. Some interesting action sequences and interesting plot. This is not a terrible movie. I still found myself laughing quite a bit, and it is fun, but just a little bit of a disappointing in the sense that you have Sandra Bullock, and what she says is going to be her final movie for a while. You got Channing Tatum, who kind of took a break for a while there, it seemed, and now he's back into 2 movies this year within a month apart, Dog and this. Daniel Radcliffe as a villain. Brad Pitt in his little cameo. His cameo was great, I'll say that. Yeah, just kind of a movie I wanted to be a bit more, and it just ended up being fine. Yeah, again, not a bad one. Just slightly disappointing. I just was slightly disappointed by this one. I thought it would be a little bit more than what it was. A little bit funnier. A little more better edited, because just a poorly edited film, in my opinion. Next up, Babylon. I watched this movie yesterday, and I will talk about it on a video tomorrow, explaining the movies I saw this week. But I will say this movie is way too long. It really has no purpose. It's all over the place. It's trying to do all these things, but not really accomplishing anything. There's some gross stuff in there just to be gross, and there's no point. No point to the grossness. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. You can watch my video tomorrow, and we'll really get in depth more of why I did not like this movie. But it is from the director of La La Land and Whiplash. That right there should have been a home run. And I don't know. This movie almost felt like it wasn't even directed by Damien Chazelle at times. There's about 100 different shots zooming in or zooming out of a trumpet. And I mean like 20 different shots. It happens throughout the movie. I think 20 minutes of this movie is just going in and out of a trumpet. I know Damien Chazelle loves music, but come on. It's a bit much. Yeah, just not a good. It's not a good one, guys. I again, we'll talk about this more tomorrow. But good God Almighty, this movie was just not what it should have been. The last one, guys, 3,000 Years of Longing. This is from the director George Miller. Mad Max Fury Road, the Mad Max movies, and it was his follow-up to Mad Max Fury Road. It was his first movie in 7 years. And he came up with this. This movie had really great potential, too. The idea that you have this genie and this woman that doesn't want to make wishes. It had the potential to be a really great movie. And instead, this movie doesn't seem to know what it wants to be. There's points where it's a comedy, other points where it's a hardcore drama, and it's trying to be a tearjerker kind of thing. Another movie that's just a little too long. I think it was just a little over 2 hours, and it does not need to be. Uh, Most of this movie takes place in a hotel room, which is fine, but the conversations that they're having, the flashbacks we're seeing, just don't work with the rest of the movie. And I don't know, guys. This movie just really kind of killed me because, again, you're coming off of Mad Max Fury Road and you did this. I just, how come this couldn't have been Furiosa? Or, I don't know, something else. I don't know. It doesn't even have to be a Mad Max movie. How come it's not something else? I don't know. Just a big disappointment in this one, guys. I wanted it to be so much more. Yeah. And that's the last of these disappointing ones, guys. I'm going to literally turn this off, start uploading this video, and then I'll start filming my top 10 worst of the year. So I'm not going to change my clothes. I'm still going to have the same glass, although I might add more Jameson to it. But yeah, but that is my I think those were 11 of them. 11 movies that just kind of disappointed me this year. Not terrible movies necessarily. Some of them are. Just not what I wanted them to be. Just most of these movies technically were really good or fine. Just disappointing. Disappointing from the director's standpoint, disappointing from the actor standpoint. Yeah. So that is this list, guys. Please like, share, subscribe. I want to get to 80 by, I guess the end of tomorrow. I need 4 more subscribers. I think I'm at 76. Get me up. Is that 4? 77, 78, 79, 80. I know how to count, guys. So yeah, please get me up to 80. I will have another video up by the end of the day here, my top 10 worst of the year. And then tomorrow, top 10 best of the year. Movies, recapping the rest of the movies I've seen for the rest of the year. And then just a thank you video. So we have hit 52 videos this year. Holy cow bunions. That's awesome. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. I will see you a little bit later today if you do decide to watch that one. But for now, guys, my disappointing movies of this year. I will see you in a little bit. Bye.